Hi everyone and welcome to Trades of the Week with myself and no other than Keith Sullivan. I think I sound like a broken record. It's the same thing every time. And today it's going to be super exciting because we're going to be talking about, it's always exciting, but today we're going to be talking about where should you keep your money to really keep them safe and how can you find out? And if you're starting out, what cryptos should you be buying? What stocks should you be buying in the sense of what would we buy if we started out just now? And what would we avoid? That is going to be the topic of today. And also, COVID, will that break out? Will they have another lockdown in China? Or what is it leaning towards? Well, today we're going to find out what it means for the economy and what where we are putting our money as well. Now, before we get started, if you like these videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Press that subscribe button, press the alarm bell, and even the like button. We would love to have you following us so you can get the latest updates on a weekly basis from us. And with that being said, let's make sure we jump into it. So, first and foremost, we have now moved our stop loss on SEDG to 2% profit. We actually did this last week. So now we see what's going to happen, but we're currently actually up almost, just over 3%. So it's not a move yet, Keith. I know you're excited, but no move yet. And then the next one is GII Apparel Group. And it just continued to go up. So it was no trade, but we could recalculate. But one thing that we have in our strategy, which is why we're not entering this, is that earnings will happen on the 7th of December, which is too close. Because according to our strategy, we should not enter these stocks 2 years before earnings, 2 years, 2 weeks before earnings. Otherwise, we would never enter a trade. So this is a no trade. We're canceling this, and that's what we're doing. KRP, we're almost at the stop loss. It's at the support level. So if you want to do your research and you want to get a better price than we did, you could, right? That is the opportunity you have right now. So we'll see where this takes us. But before we jump into the 3 new opportunities we have from today, we have one that we're editing a little bit. We're changing the entry because it just kept going down a bit, but it looks really good. And then 2 new ones. What is there in the market, Keith? What is happening in the market?
So in regards to the market, you touched a little bit on the China situation, and it comes back down to COVID. Who thought we would talk about COVID nearly 2 years on? But in China, it is still a big problem. And the Chinese government did state that they may have to enforce new COVID restrictions and lockdowns. Now, that is a challenge because if they do, China is one of the largest exporters of goods into all the countries around the world, okay? So if they do go into lockdown, that could cause an issue with supply chains once again. Now, with that being said, we did see a bit of fear in the market. Dollar gained strength on Monday, but after Monday's protests in China, we did see now the Chinese government potentially say we may not have to do that in regards to restrictions and easing off. So now we are seeing the market having a bit more of a positive impact. But that's in China. We'll keep on track with that because if it does go into lockdown, there may be challenges with supply chains. The next thing that we saw, and this is one of the biggest news because all throughout, I wouldn't even say weeks, all throughout the months, it's been the same old story. When will the Federal Reserve pivot? And now we might be seeing the first signs of not a pivot, because a pivot is we're not going to increase interest rates anymore. We're actually going to start decreasing them. It is looking as there may be a stall in regards to how high or hawkish they're going to be with increasing interest rates. So coming off the back of the FOMC minutes, they are still stating that interest rates are still going to increase, but they're going to take a step off to recalculate all the information because a couple of lagging factors are now coming into the market to really generate a clearer picture on where the economy is going. Because there's good parts of the economy, negative parts of the economy. We are seeing, for example, the labor market looking relatively strong, so low unemployment, high job creation, and increase in wages. Yet inflation is still relatively high. Consumer sentiment, which I'll touch upon in a second, is actually relatively low. And there is a lot more fear in the market. So that is it. And everyone sees that the Fed are potentially going to stall. There's an 80% probability now that we are going to see a 50 basis point hike. So 0.5% hike compared to 0.75% in December. And that is where investors are really flocking into the market. The next part of the news comes down to consumer sentiment. And we did see consumer sentiment begin to drop compared to last month, but it's still higher than what we saw on the low of May. Now, if you don't know what consumer sentiment is, a brief overview, it is the consumer's outlook on how they perceive the market to be over the next few months to years, okay? So naturally, what we want to be seeing is consumer sentiment being above 70. At this moment in time, we're currently, I'm just going to get the figure there, we're currently printing at 56.8. Okay, so we are below the 70. Now, why is consumer sentiment very important as a leading indicator? It all comes down to consumer spending, which makes 67% of GDP. Okay, so the GDP in the US is made up of 67% of consumer spending. Now, if the sentiment is relatively low, so the outlook is negative and bearish on the market and the economy, consumers are not going to will or want to spend into the economy, which can cause GDP to also decrease. And anything below 70 in consumer sentiment, we see naturally a -2 to -5% GDP decrease. Okay, so that is another thing to look at. So there's positives, there's negatives in the market. It's now just seeing where the market plays out over the next few weeks. The last bit of news that we look at is historically, we see at the end of the year a slight retracement in the market, a slight bull run in the market due to the Santa Claus rally. There's a lot of money in the side or on the sidelines for institutions and mutual funds, which needs to be invested before the new year. So we could see a continuation of this bullish motion up over the next few weeks. Now, let's wrap this all together. Keith, what does this mean? Why do I care about this? All this really means is short term, we might see a push up, and we need to really be on top of our VCAs because we're not in accumulation anymore. We are in taking our profits. We've worked hard by buying as the market drops. Now it's time to take profits. And we're going to be a bit more long bias in regards to our Buffalo opportunities. So that is it for the market update. Dennis, do you have anything else to add?
Yeah, no, I think that was perfect. And I think all the markets really go together as well. And our opinion here is really that we think the markets might fall a little bit in the short term. And I'm going to show you why. Just because we have been seeing the Dow Jones, the 30 biggest companies, as you can see here, climbing from October up a massive 19.85%. So naturally, what we have usually is a pullback before then a continuation higher. So we think that might be on the cards unless something like a black swan event happens that trigger something big that would make the market go down. So for that reason, we do have a few short positions and a few long positions. As you see, we're in one long here, we're in one long over here as well, but we're adding one more here, which we were looking at last week as well, but just carried on down. So we have been recalculating, and we have a horizontal support being supported by an upward trending support. We're past earnings, which is great. So we think this could be a really good opportunity moving forward, but just to be hedged, we're adding two short opportunities that are at the entry price at the moment. AB, which is Alliance Bernstein Holding, and AVNS as well, Avanos Medical Inc. So we have a nice downward trend. It's at the entry point at the moment. So do your research here, everyone, and see where you think that this could go. But that being said, we do believe that the overall market, which might take some companies down, some up, but overall, we think we're going to head higher into the new year and maybe a bit into the new year as well, depending on the decisions that the Fed make, because that would really drive the market as well, as Keith so awesomely explained. I'm not sure if awesomely is a word, but now it is. And comment below, what do you guys think? Comment below, what do you think will happen? And if you need any support, let us know. Now, let's jump over to cryptos as well. We're seeing a little bit of bullish momentum in cryptos at the moment. And what I want to show you here is that we did break below this low here we spoke about last week, and now we have been trading lower. Now, since we've been trading lower, what usually happens is we get a lower move like this, and then we get a bigger move to the upside, maybe for then continuation lower, but that would fall in line with the overall market since the crypto has been following the general market for quite some time. Now, if Fed keeps raising rates, and one thing I do want to mention is this: when we see Fed pivot, when they stop raising rates, as Keith said, on average, the market has actually fallen 28% on average after those statements. So if that were to happen again, if history were to repeat, then the markets could fall quite a bit more, including cryptos potentially. So just be aware of that. But what does this mean for us? Well, I'm going to get into that in a moment. So even though we get a rally in the shorter term, it might mean in the medium to maybe a bit into next year, like after for a few couple of months of upward moving market, we might see a continuation in a downward moving market. When they pivot, could be if history repeats itself. But just to mention a few really good points here with cryptos, because we think this will be a really good buying opportunity. We think it is now, but it all depends on your strategy. So a few things to mention is, one, we have seen, last week we spoke about Genesis, and Genesis, they almost went bankrupt. They have financial problems, and now we have other companies. They some people argue like, is Crypto.com, is it safe? Is KuCoin safe? And one thing I would urge and encourage you to do is to go into CoinMarketCap and go to exchanges, because when you press on an exchange, you will see what the exchange hold, what kind of cryptos. So what you would like to see, and what we love to see, is something like Binance. They have the majority of their holdings, like 12 billion in BUSD, 7 billion in USDT, 5 billion, I think it is, in BUSD and Bitcoin USDT. So really in the biggest coins, that's really where they keep the majority of their money, which is really important. If you look at something such as Crypto.com, they have the majority of their holdings, which is great, in USDC as well. But then they have a really big position of Shiba Inu. That's their third biggest holding. And for me, for example, that is a little bit of a challenge. We don't think Crypto.com will go bust, and we don't think KuCoin is, speaking about KuCoin having liquidity problems or challenges as well if you're using those. But that being said, we don't believe KuCoin is in big trouble either. I mean, it's quite far down on the list.
It's number 5, I think, Dennis.
Sorry?
It's number 5, KuCoin.
Oh, yeah, that's the one. Yeah, I thought it was going to be higher. Awesome. Sometimes, Okay, and here's the same thing here. The biggest holding they have is USDT, but the second one is their own token. And then you see the rest is quite big, but they also have a quite big holding of Shiba Inu, actually. But they have USDT, their own token, and Bitcoin, Ethereum. And what you want to see is really the biggest holdings in stable coins, USDT, BTC, ETH, USDC, or something like that is more stable than others as a security in their reserves on their exchange. So we think these are fine. I mean, they have a lot of money in assets, and that's the case with Bitcoin Base as well. So make sure you go through this. We think they're safe, but the essence of this, and a really important message, is that we are holding the majority of our coins in wallets. Like how well can we trust CoinMarketCap and what they report? We don't know. And even though we can go in and check their wallets, we don't know what's going to happen with all the transactions. So we keep the majority of our money in a Ledger or a Trezor, some hardware wallet, even Exodus or something like that. But Ledger would be the safest, and that's where we keep the majority. Very important. So there are some repercussions happening with FTX as well. For example, the lender BlockFi are going into bankruptcy as well, which is what we spoke about a couple of weeks ago as well, to be careful with BlockFi. Silvergate is another one. That's actually a listed company here. They actually had a lot of, they had some exposure, minimal exposure to BlockFi, but it might be these ripple effects down. And just looking at Silvergate, you will see that this mining company is down 88 or 90%. So could be a good buying opportunity, but just until the market stabilizes, until we get the new bull market, it might be wise to just look at the bigger companies as well, which we're going to get into in a moment. So that's a little bit with the news in cryptos. And if we were starting out and buying cryptos right now, we have an opportunity to buy cryptos such as Bitcoin at minus 74%. We think this is amazing, calculating from the high. And the next entry we have is at minus 80% at 13,700. But to start, we would definitely be looking at Bitcoin. And then the second one in order would be Ethereum, would be the next one we would be looking at, because it's the second biggest one and one of the most stable ones. But then there's other coins, of course, and I think the best thing to do is to go on CoinMarketCap, do your research. We do like those two, of course, and we have really good entry positions now. And if you're entering now, how amazing. But make sure you use proper risk management so you don't enter with more money than you can lose, and make sure you use a strategy. Even dollar cost averaging, when you enter with the same amount every month, you get an average price, like a saving. And we are looking at coins such as Bitcoin, Ethereum with good use cases, Binance Coin, even XRP, Cardano, Polygon is awesome as well. We met them at the conference a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to interview them in a week or so as well for all our members. So it's going to be awesome. We're going to see if we can report a bit what we're finding there as well. But some coins we would think twice before we invest. One of them is Dogecoin. Now, Dogecoin is up 38% in the last 7 days. So it has a really big community. We just failed to see the use case a little bit, and why. And one reason is because they have an unlimited amount of coins as well. So it's a bit challenging for us to really find the value in it. So, but other platforms like layer 1s, layer 2, the real infrastructure, such as Cardano, even Matic, Polkadot, some of these are really, really exciting projects. And we are investing in those. We're following our strategies, really building our portfolios for the next bull market that will inevitably come if we look at history, where it's come every 4 years after the halving as well. Let's see if this happens. Now, the only caveat to the market we're in at the moment is we have never really been in a bear market for cryptos when the world economy is as bad as it is now, and we are raising interest rates, etc. So we'll see where that takes us, but we are sticking to our guns and the strategy we have as well. And the same with Solana. We spoke about that the fundamentals of Solana has not changed. So we have invested more into Solana as well, as per our strategy as well. So anything you would add there, Keith?
So in regards to crypto, Dennis, you've said it correctly. Just staying safe in the market. We don't know what the fallout is going to be with FTX. We don't know how severe it could be, but it also lends us the opportunity, number one, to move our coins off the exchanges to keep them safe, but number two, also to buy some amazing projects. As you said, Dennis, your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, your Binance Coin, these type of projects, fundamentally strong. Bankless, which is one of the crypto experts, they said people are looking to double down on DeFi projects. Now, obviously, this isn't financial advice. We don't say you must buy this, buy that, but do research. DeFi has amazing opportunities. They've got a couple of little problems that they need to face, and one of them being security. Okay, so we don't see the transactions. But you could also be looking at other coins which could help grow DeFi. And one of them could be interoperability coins like Polkadot, for example, which allow blockchains to talk to each other. So there are so many opportunities out there. Don't just jump into FOMO or the fad and just go, I'm buying this coin, because everyone else is buying it. Do your own research. Say, is there utility? Make sure the utility is there for not the next 6 weeks, not the next 6 months, but for the next 6 years. Okay, they're the strongest investments that we really want to get into. Other than that, I think we are pretty good. Market right now, yes, still accumulation. Just don't be scared. If it does continue a tiny bit lower, just imagine it is the best opportunities for us to buy these projects. Other than that, Dennis, I think, yeah, you said it pretty well there.
Yeah, I mean, imagine your favorite phone, right? You want to buy a new iPhone and it's discounted by 80%. You would go, oh, I'm going to buy 5 of them, right? That's how you would go. And now we have a similar opportunity, we believe, to do your research. But we believe that now is a really good time, and that's where what we are investing into as well. So with that being said, everyone, let's jump into some stocks as well. The same story with stocks. So if we think in the shorter term, at least, the market will have a Santa rally, might go up, might we have a few corrections, but maybe then might go down lower. Now that's the question as well. And Warren Buffett usually asks, if you could choose like 10 companies to invest in over your lifetime, what would those 10 companies be? Well, how could you answer that? Would you invest into something such as maybe Silvergate or Coinbase even? That might be quite risky in some sense because Coinbase is really, really exposed to cryptos. Now, I'm not saying it's a bad or good investment. I'm just asking you, what do you think if you compare to Microsoft, Amazon, or Apple? So those are companies we would invest into. Now, in the shorter term or medium, longer term, depending on the interest rates and what's happening with the economy, real estate and property might have a little bit of a downfall. So that's an industry we're not avoiding, but we're not really waiting to see what's going to happen with it. While there's other companies such as Microsoft, and when Microsoft is down 35%, we get in. It's because this is one of the best and biggest companies in the world. So you do your research on it, but we believe Microsoft is a really good one. And some other ones we truly believe are great investments are, among others, for example, Amazon, that I think should be here somewhere. Do you see it, Keith? Am I missing something? Am I blind? Maybe I think we took profit on it. So it could be a good time to enter soon again then. But other companies such as Disney, right? One of the biggest companies in the world as well, a really big company. And you should see how many companies this company owns. And it's down 53% at the moment. So we believe this is good buying opportunities on this. And one that we always get into is Johnson & Johnson, because whenever Johnson & Johnson is down 10% or 20 or 30 or 40, it's just such a big company. Those are the type of companies we're investing into. Another one is Google, and the same here, being down from the all-time high, roughly 37% at the moment. We think Google is a great company to be investing into because we believe it's going to be a great opportunity, even if it falls more, because we don't believe it can go to zero, which is a question we truly ask ourselves. So those are some to be looking at. Now, one that we're adding this week is FIS. This is Fidelity National Information Services. Now, Fidelity is one of the biggest funds in the world, if not the biggest. And this is a provider of fintech for merchants, banks, and capital markets firms across the globe. And what we like about this is they facilitate the movement of over 10 trillion in 79 billion transactions for 20,000 clients across the globe. And it's actually growing still, right? Even despite what's happening in the market. And from the all-time high being down 58%, from the local high, 38%. We think this is a great company to be investing into as well. And we can see that the longer term trend is really going up ever since ever, right? So this is a natural pullback in the longer term. We talk about a shorter term bear market by a structural move higher, a structural bull market, which could continue for a very long time. So those would be the companies. Anything you would add there on the companies, Keith, as well?
No, I think that's pretty good. In regards to FIS, could be a great opportunity. Fundamentally looks pretty sound. It is growing year on year in regards to revenue, in regards to earnings, net profits, also free cash flow. So it is a company that looks relatively strong and stable. Now, I think we also took profit on one this week, didn't we, Dennis, on ECL?
Oh, good one. Just checking, see we're awake. It was ECL, the one we entered like a week or two ago. We took 10% profit on that. That is really good. So that's worth a move. Very good. Checking there, so Keith was awake, which he was. You passed the test. But yes, we took 10% there, which is awesome. So that being said, let's jump over to the results. And as you can see here, by today, we just closed another 10% on the money invested. So this is not on the portfolio, but on the money invested. And as you can probably imagine, on all the investments we've made, we're down in the portfolio so much, but we keep compounding because we know it's going to turn around and then we're going to take loads of profits on this as well. And like Warren Buffett says, the money is made in the bear market, not the bull market, because now we can buy at big discounts, which is rarely the case in the bull market. So CCA, small cap, same there, no profits taken. We deducted the losses from FTX a couple of weeks back that we sold that because the fundamentals changed. But now it looks very promising. We're really happy about our positions, and we believe in the bull market, we're truly going to do well. And Buffalo unchanged, but we're up 3% on one position. We're close to a stop loss on one of them. And so, yeah, this should increase as well over the next couple of weeks. So with that being said, everyone, we really hope and trust you enjoy these episodes. So comment in the chat if you do enjoy them. And also, what actions are you taking at the moment? And don't also forget, subscribe to the channel if you enjoy this content, and press that alarm bell if you want to get these notifications that we're doing these videos on a weekly basis. So you will be the first to watch them as soon as they come out, so you never miss what's happening in the market, our point of view, what we're getting in of and out of as well. So from myself, from Keith, and our whole team at Investment Mastery, we wish you an amazing week, and we cannot wait to see you in next edition of Trades of the Week.